Howdy folks, this is Chad Condon from PrepB4.com, a way to survive. I want to thank everyone for being with me again. We're only a couple videos into it, but getting better as we go, getting stuff set up. This week we're going to talk about tornadoes. The title of the video is Warning versus Watch. I'm going to talk a little bit about the difference between the two, what they actually mean, and what you should expect to do if a warning or a watch is issued. But before we get into that, I would like to give a little shout out to the new subscribers this week. I got Andrew. I appreciate the feedback. Every little bit helps. Thanks again, Bryce and SMFB8. You know who you are, and I gotta say, it's a trick. So, for you guys and anyone else who's watching, please like my videos. Sharing helps, trying to get the word out. The goal is to help everyone I can become more prepared for emergencies. And the new people, if you subscribe, you can also hit that little bell and you will get notifications for new topics that come out, the new videos that are being put out. And of course, you can go to PrepB4.com and check out all the posts that I put there. You know, if you do hit the bell, you can get these notifications. Like next week, we're working on some topics for winter safety because we all know it's coming. So without dragging that on too much, I'm going to get into the content. You know, and people are kind of wondering this time of year, tornadoes. But within the last week, from recording this video, there were tornadoes that went through Kentucky. There were tornadoes reported in Iowa and Nebraska. I've seen several tornadoes this time of year. The last one, it's been a while, but driving down the road, storm picked up, getting windy, started getting a little scary trying to get home, and 2-yard dumpster just blows across the road in front of me. You know, I decided at that point it was time to turn around and go another way, but you know, afterwards, driving through the path of the tornado, the destruction that it leaves behind is simply amazing, the things that a tornado can do. And it was in the fall and winter time, but it's a little late for the season, but I wanted to talk about it just because all the lives in Kentucky that have been turned upside down and blown around by these tornadoes, and some even lost, you know, the rescue efforts and cleanup and helping people rebuild, that stuff's still going on right now, and it could make it rough. This unseasonable warm weather that we've had in December, you know, with winter being right around the corner, when it decides it's time, that cold air is going to come in and it creates turbulence, which creates storms, which can potentially create more tornadoes. So we're going to talk a little bit about what happens and how to prepare for that leading up to that point. And one of the things that you can do yourself is to get an NOAA radio. It's basically a small radio. They make all kinds. They make the crank up where you don't even need batteries or a plug. You just wind it up and it charges, and you can actually pick up on the frequencies. They make battery powered, plug in. The one that I recommend is got a solar recharger. You can actually plug it in, but you can charge your phone and other devices off of this. It's got a flashlight, but it's just a small handheld radio that picks up the broadcast from the National Weather Service and the FCC, who broadcast from different areas 24/7. They always have weather forecast. Any emergency that's coming up, they broadcast that in your area, and it's a free service. You just need the device to pick up one of the 7 frequencies that they're broadcasting on. If you'd like to get an NOAA radio, I will leave a link at the bottom of this video so you can pick up one of those and have it ready for when you need it. So the difference between a watch and a warning. I'm going to start with a watch because that is typically what comes first. You know, if you're outside and there's a storm a brewing, you can typically tell that, oh, there's something coming. It's usually a good idea when you're in that situation, especially if there's lightning or high winds, to get indoors. But this is a time to start thinking about getting ready. This is a good time to get your NOAA radio out, turn it on, listen to the broadcasting so you can see what's up, what's coming. Most people have a smartphone or some type of electronic communication device that, if it is severe, you typically get the warnings that come across there, the electronic warning and alerts, just like an Amber Alert. You know, even if you have a weather app, some of them, the one I use, it'll tell me if it's going to rain within the next 24 hours. So those are helpful also, but you can tell when something's coming typically. There's the warnings that they're there. You can see the signs outside, but you may or may not know how severe it could be. So an NOAA radio is going to give you that national broadcast that gives you an idea of how severe it could be. In the event that it does have the possibility of producing severe thunderstorms, they could put a watch out. This means that the potential for a severe thunderstorm that could produce tornadoes, maybe large hail, high winds, are possible. That means that it could happen. That is the best time to get your NOAA radio, get it wound up, charged up, whatever you need to do. That way you know you have a full charge in the event the power goes out. It's a good idea to grab your emergency kit, maybe go through it, do an inventory, make sure you have enough water, everything that you need, and get it to your safe place, wherever that might be. If it's a basement, if it's the first floor in the interior of your building. I do not recommend staying in a mobile home with a watch. I wouldn't say that you need to evacuate right away, but you need to at least be ready to. That way, if a tornado does develop, you can get the heck out and get safe. You should know where you're going, where you need to be at that point before it happens. So in the event that there's a watch, you're basically getting to the point where you're ready. If there's a warning issued, a warning is different than a watch in the fact that there is a tornado that has been sighted. Someone has either physically reported it or the National Weather Service has spotted it on Doppler radar. You know, with radar, they can basically see the patterns in the air and how it's working with the temperatures, and they can pick up through imaging if there's a tornado out in the middle of nowhere where nobody's at that has actually developed and touched down, and at least give people warning that it's coming and the path that it's going. If you do hear a tornado warning, that means there is one that has developed. I would recommend at this point seeking shelter if it is in your area. They can be super wide. I mean, the ones that went through Kentucky last week were probably 150 miles from where it was at, and I know I spent all last weekend cutting up 4 trees. We've had branches down. The storm was big enough and produced high enough winds that we were affected by blowing trees down, but we were still 150 miles from the actual tornado. So you got to pay attention when it says warning. That means there is one sighted and its path can be huge. So when you do hear a tornado warning, make sure that you are seeking shelter. Make sure it's a solid building. Underground is best if you don't have a basement. I'm not going to say you got to crawl in the crawl space if you got a foundation, but even a slab home, the center of the building is best. You want to be on the ground floor. Do not stay upstairs. And absolutely no mobile homes if you can avoid it. If you do live in a mobile home, even if it's strapped down, they are not safe. You need to have a plan of where you can go and someplace, even if it is a public building. You know, find a shelter that is a brick and mortar building that would be much more safe than something that's just sitting on the ground and strapped down with some sheet metal tie downs. Those are not safe. So I hope this helps, you know, identifying the differences between watch and a warning and what you should do. You know, if it's possible that it could happen, you should be getting ready. If you get a warning and they've identified and reported that there is actually a tornado, then you definitely need to seek shelter. If you would like to know more, again, you can subscribe to this channel, PrepB4, on YouTube. You can hit the bell, and I will make sure that when I get new stuff out there, they will make sure that you get notifications for it. Coming up next, we're going to be talking a little bit about winter safety. It's coming up. I've already posted on PrepB4.com an article about safe driving and winter tips, some of the things that you should store in your car during the winter season. And if you have any questions, reach out, leave a comment on the channel or the website. And as always, be ready before you have to be. This is Chad Condon from PrepB4.com. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you again soon.